I may give you some time to find out how the language has changed. So think it for yourself and try to take down the old English spellings, and you may have the new English version of those spelling also. So start your exercise now. Yes, my dear friends, to some extent Spencer is rather easy in comparison to Chaucer's writing. So there are a couple of spellings, and I have also tried for you the prose paraphrases of these lines. See the slide. I told you that if one reads it out for you, then you may not find very difficult to follow. But if you read the lines of Edmund Spenser for yourself, then certainly it is a big problem. So here is the prose paraphrases of these lines, and you may have a chance to compare the spellings which we use today and the spellings used by Edmund Spenser some 5 to 600 years back. So this is the prose version. One day I wrote her name upon the sand. See, we do this practice when we are at the seashore and there are waves and tides. We write something, we do something, and it is washed away, but we keep on repeating the things. Young Edmund Spenser did the same thing in those days. See how romantic he was, but still we don't call him a romantic poet. One day I wrote her name upon the sand, but the waves came and washed it away. I wrote her name again, but a tide came and made my attempt its prey. Now see, Chaucer is using his for March and April, and again the same thing is repeated in Spenser. See the difference. See and feel how the language has made a thorough journey of development, how it has progressed. So the spellings, especially upon, for example, waves, for example, and pain also, again also, tide also, prey also, all these spellings which I have given in this slide, they are from modern English or the English with which we are familiar. But if you go back to the slide over here and see the language and spelling of Spenser, then we certainly feel that he is very poor in English. No, he was not very poor, but this is the language, and this is the language which was standard in those days. So in that sense it is a correct language. And so I am talking about the journey of English. So it has developed from Chaucer, and if you come to the next session, that is Spenser, it has become rather easier for us. Apart from some spellings here and there, if one reads it out, no, nothing is rather difficult. So this is the prose version, and it would be interesting to compare. I am sure you might have done the exercise for yourself. Now I may turn to the next very important poet or dramatist, and which most of you, those who read English as a main subject at some level or the other, they might have come across this name undoubtedly. And this is the English used by William Shakespeare. He was master actually, and he made English popular all across the globe in a way through his plays and poetry. So William Shakespeare, and I have given his date, you can see them in the slide also, is undoubtedly the greatest of all English dramatist and poet. He wrote about 36 plays, very often it is called 37 plays also. That is not our problem now. And lots of poems including sonnets, long and short, narrative and lyrical. And though he writes in modern English, very often it is very difficult to follow. And one reason for this is his blank verse. Actually, he was writing the verse drama and poems. So naturally the flow of language differs from the conversational English which we generally use. So if you listen, if someone is reading out for you the lines from Shakespeare, you may not find it difficult. But again, the problem you face in reading Edmund Spenser is very much there when we read William Shakespeare. So I have got couple of lines, and interestingly, Some of you might have read these lines. It is uh, it is the line. The lines have been taken from a very popular song from the play As You Like It. And if you can guess the first line of the song, yes, no, it is Under the Greenwood Tree. It is a very famous song by William Shakespeare. And see, I may draw your attention towards the development of English. See the language, see the English of William Shakespeare, who wrote almost 500 years back. So these are the lines taken from the song in the play As You Like It. It is a comedy, as some of you know. Who doth ambition shun? Take care, listen carefully. If you are interested, if you have got your note and pen ready, you may pick up the words which you may find difficult or which you feel that they are wrong in terms of spellings. So make a note. I may read it again and again. I may allow you some time to think it over, to find how the language has changed, the language of English in Shakespeare and the language we have been using in our time. Who doth ambition shun and loves to live in the sun, seeking the food he eats and pleased with what he gets. Come hither, come hither, come hither. Now think for yourself. If you got note and pen, make note of the words which you find are difficult to follow, and then I may talk about that difficulty later on. So please start your practice now. Please make the note for yourself. I may allow you some time. Start. Yes, friend, I'm sure that you might have enjoyed Shakespeare a great deal simply because he is fantastic poet. And again, very often we feel that he belongs to our own time, though it is not the case. He died in 1660, 1616, almost 500 years back. But see the English he is using. The only problem or major problem in the English he is using is his blank verse. So, and after all, he was writing in verse. That is why there are number of changes in the flow of language. That is why we feel it very difficult. Very often, most readers find the writings and the plays of William Shakespeare very difficult to follow. But if you scrutinize the things, we feel that is certainly not so difficult. And if we compare the writings of William Shakespeare to the works of, say, Edmund Spenser or even Geoffrey Chaucer, we never feel that William Shakespeare is difficult at all. He is so easy to follow. The only problem may be because of the language he is using in blank verse. So the slide shows couple of spellings. I may draw your attention to doth, for example, DOTH, and most of you might have made it out that it is does. And see, the language problem is because of his blank verse. The line is who doth ambition shun. Now actually he is using the English language in blank verse, that is a meter. That is why we feel some difficulty in following the English he is using. Now actually the line should be who ambition shuns, or who shuns the ambition. But because he is writing in blank verse, he had made some changes, and in turn we find Shakespeare very difficult. See the spelling of doth. It is DOS, does, right? Simple. So the line should be like this. If it is today's language, who shuns ambition, who gives up ambition. But that is his English used in the blank verse. Next line is I, and there is some dot over there. but it is in. I think some of you might have found it very easy. In, in. And again, the last line, come hither, come hither, come hither. If you can think for few seconds, you may certainly feel that yes, it is come here, come here, come here. But that is the English which was in use in those days. And again, he is writing a verse drama, so he is at the liberty to use and change the spellings, which was to suit his needs. So come hither, come hither, come hither is come here, come here, come here. Now, if I use the spelling doth today, if I use I and dot apostrophe actually in my paper, if I use either hither and expect the teacher to follow it exactly simply because William Shakespeare has used this language in his place, then it would be a great problem for both of you, teacher and the student. Why? Because the language has developed and these words of Shakespeare have become obsolete, so you cannot use them today. Of course, you can read it for your pleasure. If you read it for your examination point of view, it is extremely necessary that you take the words as they appear in the play. You cannot write who does ambition shun or who shuns ambition. No, we have got no right, because the language of William Shakespeare was standard in those days, and the English we speak today has nothing to do in a way in terms of the flow of language. So we find difficulty simply because of it is written in the poetry form, especially the blank verse, and Shakespeare was very much fond of doing and turning the things topsy-turvy. Here is an excellent example. But still you feel that the English used by William Shakespeare is far easier than the one used by other poets which belong to earlier period of English history. Now I may turn to one more great master of English literature, and I may draw your attention towards English he is using. Of course, it is John Milton. See the dates: 1608 to 1674. Again, he is almost 400 years back. We could go back to that 17th century. And his best known work is, yes, Paradise Lost, which is the modern epic. The difficulty in reading his poetry is largely due to his ample use of Greek and Latin words. When he is writing Paradise Lost in the classical norms, so naturally there are plenty of references which make his English difficult to follow for most modern readers. If you go without any dictionary, without any sources, you may feel that it may turn boring for most of us. I give the reason that ample use of Greek and Latin in his work, and again there are plenty of mythological references in almost all his works, especially Paradise Lost. But still, if you keep these things apart, that is the use of Greek and Latin and references to mythological stories, he is rather very simple. Now I may draw your attention towards his English, and for your information, I picked up some lines from John Milton, the great master epic writer of England. So see the lines, which are from the epic Paradise Lost. I am sure some of you are reading Paradise Lost at some level, and apart from that, most of us, those who are reading English literature at some levels, they are very much familiar with this title and the creator of the work, the masterpiece of English literature. Now these are the lines which have been taken from the first book of the Paradise Lost, the epic, and if I may permit you to find out who is speaking these lines. This is again conversational English. As you can see in the line over there, this is a speech, and the Satan, the major character in the Paradise Lost, is Satan, and he is addressing the fallen angels. And see the language he is using. And apart from these very simple lines, you may feel that yes, if you Keep away the mythological references, the Greek words and Latin words, and if you go plainly to English words, he is not very difficult. So see, hail horrors, hail, infernal world, and thou profoundest hail. Receive thy new possessor. See, the lines are very simple, but next line is important for us now. My attention was to show how the English has changed, has gone on changing over the years. So the next line is our major target. And here ends the speech of Satan. Now the next line is very important. So I may read it out for you, and it would be rather very easy to find out how it has changed. I read it for you. So Satan spake, and him Beelzebub thus answered. There are only two spellings which you find have changed over the years. Of course, one is spake. If I read spake, then no teacher would follow generally, and he would feel that yes, the student is very weak in English spelling. There is no such spelling which you cannot. I think we cannot use this same spelling today. So Satan spake. Those who are reading Milton, for them it would be very easy to find or replace the word spake, spake, to the modern spelling spoke. So today's English would go like this. So Satan spake. No, sorry. So Satan spoke. It is very easy to find a change in English of Milton and the English we use. So spake becomes spoke. And next line is thus answered. You find apostrophe simply because it